The Michigan DNR says a recent cougar seen downstate was the first confirmed sighting in the Lower Peninsula, but people have reported seeing cougars for years.
It's been the subject of hot debate for quite some time now in Michigan. Cougar sightings.
It's a story that keeps coming up.
Well, the DNR is confirming it tonight, the first ever cougar sighting in the Lower Peninsula.
It is this photograph right here. At first glance, it just seems like a picture of a road at night.
When you zoom in, though, things get a little more interesting. Take a look. The Michigan DNR says that is a cougar spotted in the Lower Peninsula for the first time ever. This
State of Michigan is seeing an increase in some unusual wildlife.
Yeah, Jamie Smith met with a large carnivore specialist from the DNR to learn more about the 14 cougars who've made an appearance across the state last year.
Michigan DNR has confirmed 2 recent cougar sightings in the eastern UP. Are roaming the state of Michigan, and you're looking right now at evidence to back that claim up. The Michigan DNR says one of its game cameras captured this image of a mountain lion in the far western UP.
At least 2 residents reported seeing a cougar in Troy over the past week. And
new at 6, take a look at these animal tracks left behind after our recent snowfall. Could these be the markings of cougars roaming through a local subdivision? So are there cougars really in Metro Detroit?
First time in more than a century, cougar cubs have been discovered living in the wild right here in Michigan. The DNR reports that 2 cougar cubs were spotted in the western UP on March 6th. This is the first sighting of the big cat since they were believed to be hunted out of existence in Michigan in the early 1900s.
Welcome back to Coasters, everybody, and today we're going to go on a little nature adventure. We had some breaking news here in Michigan, so we're going to go ahead and take a dive into that. Michigan's known for plenty of its wildlife. We got plenty of deer out there. We've got bears up in the UP and plenty of other animals out there. And for over a century, the idea of wild cougars roaming Michigan was little more than just a legend and some sightings. Though occasional sightings kept the mystery alive, there was never solid proof that these big cats were truly here. That is, until now. In a historic discovery, the Michigan Department of Natural Resources has confirmed the first cougar cubs born in the state in more than 100 years. This groundbreaking find changes everything we thought we knew about Michigan's top predators. How did we get here, and what does this mean for the future of cougars in Michigan? Let's dive into the story and these elusive creatures, with their past and the exciting possibilities ahead for cougars in Michigan. Cougars, also known as mountain lions, pumas, or panthers, were once a natural part of Michigan's ecosystem. These powerful predators thrived in the dense forests and open prairies, hunting deer, elk, and smaller animals. As apex predators, cougars played a critical role in keeping prey populations balanced, preventing overgrazing and maintaining the overall health of Michigan's wilderness. However, their fate took a turn for the worse with the arrival of European settlers in the late 1700s and early 1800s. As Michigan's population grew, so did the demand for farmland, leading to massive deforestation and habitat destruction. Cougars, seen as a threat to both livestock and human safety, were relentlessly hunted. Their population rapidly declined due to a combination of factors. Bounty hunting programs, which by the late 1800s, state-sponsored bounty programs encouraged hunters to kill cougars, offering financial rewards for each one taken down. This led to aggressive hunting and trapping. Loss of habitat, with Michigan's vast forest, once ideal for cougars, were rapidly being cleared for farmland and settlements. Declining prey populations, with elk numbers dwindling and deer populations fluctuating, food sources for cougars became more scarce, and fear and misinformation. Like wolves and bears, cougars were often seen as dangerous predators that needed to be eliminated to protect people and livestock. By the early 1900s, cougars were officially declared extinct, locally extinct, in Michigan. The last verified wild cougar in Michigan was killed in the early 1900s, and for the next century, the state considered them completely gone or extirpated. But despite this official stance, many Michiganders weren't so sure. Although cougars were declared extinct in Michigan, sightings never truly stopped. Reports of large cat-like creatures lurking in the woods, dashing across rural roads, and leaving behind oversized paw prints always kept the debate alive. Many of these sightings came from hunters, hikers, and rural landowners who swore they saw something much larger than a bobcat. I even have this story in my own family. My papa, back in like 2010 or 2011, he has trail cams out there and stuff. Never caught it on the trail cam. He caught bears before, but he did say he thought he seen a cougar, and he had seen plenty of bobcats in his life, and he said that was not a bobcat. Let's get into the unofficial sightings in the first report, since it was declared extinct at one time. One of the earliest unofficial sightings came from Isabella County in the 1930s when farmers claimed to have spotted a large, tan-colored cat stalking their livestock. However, with no photographic evidence, these stories were dismissed as misidentifications. Throughout the mid-20th century, similar stories spread across Michigan, particularly in the Upper Peninsula and Northern Lower Peninsula. Farmers, hunters, and hikers reported seeing long-tailed cats sprinting across roads or kind of slinking through the forest. While some of these were likely escaped captive cougars, others could not be explained. By the 1970s and the 1980s, sightings increased, particularly in Marquette, Algier, and Schoolcraft counties in the UP, as well as Roscommon and Oscoda counties in the Lower Peninsula. Skeptics believe these were either escaped pets from illegal ownership or exaggerated encounters with large bobcats. As the 90s progressed, so did the stories, and for decades, cougars in Michigan remained a mystery, until 2008, when the Department of Natural Resources confirmed the first verified cougar sighting in modern times. A trail camera operated in Chippewa County in the Upper Peninsula captured an unmistakable image of a large cougar, marking the first official proof that these animals were present in the state. This was not an escaped pet, it was a true wild cougar. Since that first verification, the DNR has documented over 100 confirmed cougar sightings in Michigan. Most of these have been recorded through trail cameras capturing real good images, DNA testing of scat and fur samples, large paw prints found in remote areas, and deer carcasses showing signs of cougar predation. Where have they been seen? While sightings have occurred statewide, the majority have been in the Upper Peninsula. Some key locations include Delta County with many confirmed sightings near Escanaba, Marquette with sightings near the Huron Mountains, Baraga County and trail cameras and images and footprints that have all been verified, and of course Schoolcraft counties where DNA evidence has been found in scat samples. Occasionally, cougars have been reported in the Lower Peninsula. A notable sighting occurred in 2017 near Lansing, but no official confirmation followed. So are they truly living in Michigan? For years, the biggest question was, are these cougars living and breeding in Michigan, or are they just passing through? Wildlife experts believe that most of these cougars were lone males wandering from western states like South Dakota, where a strong cougar population does exist. These males were likely searching for mates but never finding them in Michigan. But then, something changed. The real question remained, were cougars actually breeding in Michigan, or were these just passing visitors? For years, the answer seemed to be no. But then, everything changed. In early March 2025, the Michigan DNR made a groundbreaking announcement. For the first time in over a century, wild-born cougar cubs had been confirmed in Michigan. This discovery shocked wildlife experts as it provided undeniable proof that cougars were not just passing through the state, they were breeding here. Photos surfaced from a user who wanted to remain anonymous. The image showed two small cougar cubs, their fur still marked with the spotted pattern typical of young cougars, and they couldn't really find the mother anywhere, but it was debated that she was probably around since the mothers stay with their cougars for about 2 years. This was the first solid evidence of a breeding female in Michigan, something that had been long debated but never really proven. The discovery was not accidental, though there's wildlife researchers out there always monitoring and everything else. In 2024, there were reports of fresh cougar tracks and unusual deer kills suggesting that at least one cougar had made the area its home. Kind of hoping to confirm the suspicions, researchers have set up a network of motion-triggered trail cameras in strategic locations up there, particularly near heavily wooded areas along wildlife corridors. So why is this so important? This is a monumental finding because it indefinitely proves that cougars are reproducing in Michigan. Until now, every confirmed sighting in the state had been a single animal, typically a male that had wandered in from the western US. With the presence of cubs, that changes everything. It means that at least one female cougar has successfully mated and given birth within Michigan's borders. The discovery also raises new questions. Have cougars been quietly reestablishing themselves in Michigan without detection? How many breeding females are out there? And is this the start of a permanent population or just an isolated case? For decades, experts believed that Michigan's cougars were simply lone mammals passing through in search of territory, but the existence of cubs suggests something much bigger. These animals are not just visiting Michigan, they're staying, reproducing now, and possibly forming a resident population. Now, what does this mean for Michigan's wildlife? The confirmation of breeding cougars signals a significant shift in Michigan's ecosystem. If cougars are making a comeback, it could reshape the balance of wildlife in ways not seen in over a century. 1. It could start with a healthier ecosystem. Cougars are apex predators that help control deer populations, which have grown rapidly in Michigan due to the absence of natural predators like wolves and cougars. An overabundance of deer can lead to overgrazing, which damages forests, increased car accidents, and more crop damage. By reintroducing a top predator to the ecosystem, Michigan could see a natural balance of its wildlife populations. 2. More cougar sightings in the future. Now that we know cougars are breeding in Michigan, it's likely that more sightings will follow in the coming years. While cougars are naturally solitary and elusive, increased numbers could mean more trail cam footage, more paw prints and DNA evidence in different regions, and occasional sightings by hunters, hikers, and rural residents. Stay safe out there still. 3. This also causes potential challenges and conservation efforts. Not everyone will welcome the return of cougars. Some of the biggest concerns include farmers worrying about livestock losses, fear of cougar attacks, and conflicts with hunters. Now, like we said, stay safe out there and don't listen to the misinformation. Are cougars dangerous? Yes. Are they still beautiful animals? Of course. Wildlife officials will need to balance conservation efforts with public safety, ensuring that people understand how to live alongside these animals responsibly. And 4, the big question is, how many of them are actually out there, and how do we figure that out? The biggest mystery now is just how many cougars are living in Michigan, with the discovery of one breeding female that suggests there may be others out there, hidden deep in Michigan's vast wilderness. Researchers will continue to track sightings, collect DNA samples, and analyze movement patterns to determine if this is just a small isolated event or the beginning of a true cougar comeback. For over a century, the ideas of cougars in Michigan were considered little more than a myth, but with the historic discovery, that myth has become a reality. Cougars are back, they are breeding, and Michigan's wilderness may never be the same again. Wildlife experts will be watching closely to see what happens next. Will more cougars be found? Will their population continue to grow? For now, one thing is certain. Michigan's wild lands just got a little wilder. The historic discovery opens the door to a new chapter for Michigan's wildlife. Will cougars fully return to Michigan's forests? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. The wild heart of Michigan definitely got a little wilder. As always, thank you for being a part of our spooky community and for Coaster Ghosting with Ghoster Coasters. A huge shout out goes out to all of our channel members. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We'll definitely be taking you to all sorts of places across the state of Michigan over the next couple of years here, guys, and we got tons of stories. And leave a comment down below. What are some cool things that you want covered? Just let me know. It doesn't have to be amusement parks, everybody. Alright, have a good day.